Hi, ladies and gentlemen, fellow traders. Welcome to another episode of Weekly Forex Outlook with Chat Engineering Pro. We really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video, and we don't take it for granted at all. If you haven't yet subscribed or you are new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any content we post here. And if you find value with what we share here, be sure to like, drop a comment, share your views, and share this video to your fellow traders or anyone who would find this information useful. So without wasting much time, let's have a quick recap of last week's setups discussed in our previous video before we dive into next week's analysis. So last week we had this setup on USD JPY where we were expecting price to drop all the way here, give us a buying reaction and get us a pullback to this line for an entry, and price did exactly that. So we are currently in this trade. So going forward, if we're not able to catch this trade, you can wait for a 4-hour structural shift here, get a 4-hour structural shift here, get a pullback or any nice pullback and get any buying confirmations and continue the buy to the upside. Bear in mind that we are looking at an overall butterfly pattern on the daily time frame. So we are very bullish on USD JPY. This is the pattern we looked at from last week. So going forward, we'll be looking for more buys than sells on USD JPY. Last week we had a setup on JPN225, which we were expecting price to pull back to this area of interest at least and give us a buying confirmation to the upside. Price was some few pips shy of our area of interest and it just took off, came back and retested another area of interest around this zone and continued the upside movement, and we missed out on this trade, and it's moved so nicely but it was very fast, so we couldn't take advantage of this trade last week on JPN225. We also had a setup on EURJPY where we were expecting price to pull back into this area of interest for us to get some buying opportunities. Price actually pulled back into the area of interest, but the confirmations that came, that the price action here was not very convincing. So I was thinking price was going to pull back a bit deeper and give us a very nice reversal pattern, but we didn't have it that way, and price just took off from there. So for the coming week, we can look forward to a possible higher low. Maybe we can get a possible higher low, get a buying confirmation and continue the buy to the upside. And this is our overall target for Euro GBP. So we are very bullish on Euro JPY. We are very bullish on Euro JPY for the coming week. We also had a setup on AUDJPY where we're expecting price to pull back to this area of interest. Price actually just tipped the area of interest and then just took off. We weren't able to catch this trade, and price is almost at the TP as we anticipated last week. So we missed out on this beautiful trade as well due to how price moved, and just have to move on to the next. So before we dive into next week's analysis, let's look at the economic calendar for the coming week. The coming week has a lot of fundamentals and it's going to be a very volatile week. So we need to be very cautious when we are taking our trades, because the high impact news that we have lined up for next week is they are very, very strong high impact news. So we have to take caution with our trades. So on Monday we don't have any high impact news on Monday. On Tuesday we have a CPI for CAD, and then the core retail sales for USD on Tuesday. So Tuesday is the CAD CPI and then USD core retail sales on Tuesday. And Wednesday we have GBPCPI and CAD overnight rate and Bank of Canada rate statement. That's on Wednesday. And the very big decider we are all waiting for is the FOMC for the US dollar, the federal funds rate. We are going to going forward, we are expecting, the Fed is trying to cut rates, or we are expecting that the Fed is going to cut rates, or the expectations for the FOMC is that the Federal Reserve of the US is going to cut rates for the coming FOMC, and that is going to be a very big decider for the direction for DXY going forward. So Wednesday is going to be very crucial for the US dollar and many other pairs as well. And on the same Wednesday at night, we have NZD GBP, and on Thursday we have AUD employment rates, employment change and unemployment rate, more like the NFP for AUD, and that's on Thursday. And then on the same Thursday, we also have the GBP monetary policy statement, monetary policy summary, and then official bank rate. This news is also very, very, very volatile. It's going to be very, very volatile for the British pound on Thursday. So, the whole week is full of crazy high volatility and fundamentals. So we have to be very cautious. And on Friday, we also have the Bank of Japan also going to release its monetary policy statement and policy rate on Friday. So let's jump into the charts and look at the setups we have for the coming week. We have here DXY, and DXY has been in this range for a very long time. I think more than a month now. Price has been consolidating within this range for about a month or more now, and we are still at the same spot. So for the coming week, it's either we're going to go bullish from this zone or we're going to go bearish. So we're going to wait for price to give us a break below this zone, and get a possible retest to the area of interest and then go bearish. But the bullish option we have, if we go down to the 4-hour time frame, price has actually shifted bullish on the 4-hour time frame. So looking at the various time frames, on a monthly perspective, price is bearish. On a weekly, price is bearish. On the daily perspective, price is bullish, and on the 4-hour perspective, price has also now shifted bullish. So there's a bit of contention with the various time frames at the moment. So when we go down to the 4-hour time frame, you can see here that within this area of interest, price has shifted, has given us a shift, has given us a 4-hour shift. So price has shifted bullish here, giving us a pullback, and we're expecting price to continue to the upside, forming something like an inverse head and shoulder. So it looks like an inverse head and shoulder, which is giving an indication that DXY might go bullish for the coming week. But we should bear in mind that we have FOMC on Wednesday, and that can change the whole thing. So we just have to be cautious and give price some time to develop, so we can decide on what to do with the US dollar. But at the moment, on the lower time frames, price is looking bullish for the 4-hour and the daily time frame as well. So let's be on the lookout. Yeah, still looking at the same setup from the previous weeks. So we have EURUSD. For EURUSD, we had a fake breakout the previous week. We're expecting the price was going to break out of this zone and give us a retest of this zone and go bullish, but we had a fake breakout and price came back into the range. And as we can see here, if we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, price has also actually shifted bearish on the 4-hour time frame on EURUSD. So as you can see here, we have a structural shift here on the 4-hour. So price would likely continue the bearish movement, or would continue above and break the zone and give us a bullish move from there. So on the intraday or the daily, or to the day traders, if price gives us any reaction here and sells and breaks this structural low, price may likely come for a retest of this structural low and continue its bearishness. So we can be on the lookout for that. So we are still neutral on the EURUSD. So we just have to allow price to develop some more. But at the moment, on the lower time frames, price has actually shifted bearish on the lower time frames for EURUSD. We have here GBPUSD. On GBPUSD, we have been anticipating this possible inverse head and shoulder, but price is yet to break out of this zone to give us a retest and continue upside. But if we drop down to the lower time frames, just as we saw on DXY, price has actually shifted bearish on DXY. But what we have here on GBPUSD, price is giving something like a double top. Price is creating something like a double top. So if we get a break, should price break this structural low and give us this double top here, price may likely come for a retest and continue the downside movement for GBPUSD. But if price continues to break upside and gives us a daily candle break, a strong daily candle break above this zone, then we will consider price bullish on GBPUSD. But at the moment, we are still neutral on a higher time frame perspective. But on the lower time frames, price is trying to shift bearish. So let's be on the lookout for the coming week. We also have here NZDUSD. NZDUSD is also very bearish on the weekly and a daily perspective. And price has actually made its way to this area of interest. So for the coming week, we'll be waiting for some more price action to see if price gives us a double top here, breaks it, gives us a retest and continues. We'll be very bearish on this trade on NZDUSD. Also, alternatively, should price break this structural low and give us a pullback, we'll have something like a head and shoulder and get a continuation to the downside. So going to next week, I'm very bearish on NZDUSD. Price can only be considered bullish if we get a strong break above here, get a retest and continue upside. But until then, NZDUSD is still bearish. We have here Cadjpy, and Cadjpy is giving us a nice reaction from an area of interest. So for the coming week, we'll wait for a possible daily candle break at this zone I have indicated here. If we get a daily candle break above here, above this line, and get a retest to give us something like a possible higher low, we look for buying opportunities to the upside. When price breaks this zone and comes back for a retest, we'll still consider the buy to the upside. So we are very bullish on Cadjpy for the coming week, and it will only be considered bearish if price breaks below and retest and gives us a bearish movement. But I'm very bullish on Cadjpy for the coming week, just as I'm bullish on the USD JPY. We also have here GBPCAD, where last week we were expecting price to actually pull back to this zone somewhere around here to give us some bullish confirmations to the upside, but we never got that pullback. So for the coming week, we'll be expecting price to pull back to this very first zone, give us some bullish confirmations, and then look for buying opportunities within this first zone. If this zone fails, we'll be looking at, or we'll be considering the second zone for buying opportunities to the upside to complete this potential 4-hour butterfly pattern on the GBPCAD. So I'm actually very bullish on GBPCAD. This can only be considered bearish if price violates this zone to the downside and gives a retest and continues downside. To the next, we have GBPNZD. So price has actually made its way to this very first area of interest, and we're looking forward to some buying opportunities from this zone. If we don't get it and price breaks this very first zone and comes to the second zone, we'll be looking out for those buying opportunities. So for the coming week, if we get any reversal pattern within this zone, whether a double bottom, get a continuation into the upside, or we get an inverse head and shoulder within this zone, we'll be very much interested in buys for GBPNZD for the coming week. But if price violates this very first zone and comes to the second zone, we'll still be looking out for those same confirmations before we take our longs on GBPNZD. We also have here GBPAUD, and for GBPAUD, we have a very strong area of interest, a weekly and a monthly, a strong area of interest way below where price currently is. So we're expecting price to make its way to this zone, give us some bullish confirmations within this zone, and take our buys from here to the upside. So we just have to give price some more time to develop for us to make our decisions whether to go bullish or to go bearish. But if you're an intraday trader or you are a day trader, you can as well look for some selling opportunities into this area of interest, and then from there we look out for the buying opportunities to the upside. We have here AUDCHF, and currently AUDCHF is forming a potential harmonic pattern, which is a cipher pattern, and price is actually very bullish now. So for the coming week, we'll be looking forward to a possible pullback to this area of interest, this zone, get bullish confirmations, and take our buys from there to the upside. So we target this very first potential reversal zone, or we target the shark potential reversal zone for the coming week. So I'm very bullish on AUDCHF for the coming week. We also have here GBPCHF. Just as I'm bullish on AUDCHF, I'll be looking forward to a possible daily structural shift here. So we're looking for a daily candle to break above this daily structure here, break above this daily structure, come for a pullback, create a possible right shoulder or a higher low, and take the buy to the upside. And if that happens, we will look for another pullback into this zone, just as I illustrated with these arrows, and then continue the buys to the upside, targeting these very targets we have here. TP1, potential for our BATS pattern PRC, and potential for our AUDCHF PRC. I'll just advise that you target either of these two, because the other extreme target is very far away. That's the crab pattern, but we just have to look for short and very short targets. Those are much more promising. So going forward, I'll be looking out for buying opportunities on GBPCHF. This can only be violated or shifted bearish or shift bearish if price breaks below this structural low, daily structural low, and gives a retest and continues downside. But for the coming week, I'm very bullish on GBPCHF. We have here EURCHF, and EURCHF from last week, we're expecting price to give us some reactions from this zone to the upside. So for the coming week, we will be looking out for some reversal patterns. Should price give us maybe a double bottom here and give us a break and then retest of the neckline, we'll be interested in taking the buys to the upside for EURCHF. Alternatively, should price break or should price buy and close, give us a daily candle closure above this structural high, this daily structural high here, and gives us a retest or a higher low or a right shoulder, we're looking forward to take some buys to the upside. So I'm very bullish on EURCHF. This can only be violated if price breaks below this zone, comes for a retest, and continues downside. That's the only way we consider this pair bearish. For the coming week, we are very bullish on EURCHF. We have here AUDNZD, and AUDNZD is extremely bullish, both on weekly, daily. It's very bullish. So for the coming week, we'll be looking forward to a possible pullback to any of these two areas of interest to look for buying opportunities upside. So we are looking forward to price to come to this zone, give us bullish confirmations, and we buy upside. Or if price is able to drop a bit lower to this line, then we're looking for buying opportunities to the upside. So I'm very bullish on AUDNZD for the coming week. We also have here crude oil, Brent crude oil. We've been looking forward to this sell for a very long time, and price is still shaping up for this bearish move. So for the coming week, we'll be looking forward to a possible pullback, giving us maybe a possible double top, or should price pull back a bit further into this zone, we will be looking out for selling opportunities around here if price gives us bearish confirmations around this zone above. But if price gives us a pullback within this zone and gives us a possible double top or a head and shoulder, or if price breaks this low, this low counts for a pullback, we can look for selling opportunities and continue the sell to the downside. So for the coming week, I'm very bearish on Brent crude oil. It has a similar setup on WTI crude oil, that's the US oil, but this can only be violated if we get a daily candle break above or a weekly candle break above this zone and come for a retest to the upside. So for the coming week, I'm very bearish. I'm still very bearish on Brent crude oil, that's the UK oil. We have here natural gas, and natural gas is actually very bearish now. Natural gas is very bearish now, and price has actually made its way to our area of interest and has given us a very strong reaction from that area of interest. So for the coming week, we're looking forward to a pullback, a lower high, a possible lower high a bit above or within this, back to this zone. Look for selling confirmations, or if price gives us a double top formation here in this zone, we'll be interested in taking the buy to the downside. So we're looking forward to selling confirmations from this zone, from where price currently is. This is actually what is developing in this zone. So we currently have something like a head and shoulder formation. So we have the left head shoulder, this is the head, and we are looking forward to a possible right shoulder formation and then take the sell to the downside. So if you can look at this, you see this like a possible head and shoulder formation that we'll be looking forward to for the coming week on natural gas. On to the next, we have Nasdaq. Yes, Nasdaq is extremely bullish now, extremely bullish. You need to be very wise to look for buying opportunities. So for the coming week, we'll be looking forward to a pullback to this very first zone. So we're looking forward to a pullback to this very first zone, get bullish confirmations, and then we take our buys from here to the upside, targeting these very two targets we have here. If price pulls back in any way a bit deeper, we're looking for it to price coming all the way to this zone and give us a bullish confirmation to the upside. But I'm very optimistic that price might react from this very first zone, looking at the bullishness that we have here. So I'm very bullish on Nasdaq for the coming week, or US 100, whichever way you want to call it. So I'm very bullish on Nasdaq for the coming week. We have our last instrument or last indices or index here. So last week, this is UK 100 or the FTSE 100. Last week we were looking forward to see price pull back to this area, any of these two areas, and give us bullish confirmations. But price came some few pips shy away from our area of interest that we're looking forward to buy from, and it continued upside. But now we can see that it is pulling back. So for the coming week, should price pull back within this zone, this very first zone, and give us give us bullish confirmations, we'll be interested in taking the buys to the upside to complete a potential for our deep crab pattern. Or should price pull back to the old areas of interest that we had from last week, we'll still be looking for buying opportunities within this zone, these two zones, and then take the buys to the upside to complete this potential for our deep crab pattern. And this can only be violated if price breaks lower, clears this low, counts for a retest, and then sells. So thank you so much for sticking through to this time, and I really appreciate you for your time and your commitment or your attention. So I'll encourage you that apply proper risk management to your trades, trade safely, and then since we have a lot of fundamentals in the coming week, make sure you look out for those news before you take your positions on any trade. And so I wish you a very fruitful and a profitable week ahead. I'll catch you on another episode. Take care, and I'll see you. Bye bye.